can't find nothing on the radio. Yo, turn to that station.
Say, kids, what time is it?
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Jeff Lutz.
We should be in the moment, but also it's good to have something to look forward to.
Oh, that's true.
And Jason Duda.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that anything's wrong or anything like that. It's just that you're looking forward to something.
Lesson 1, lose the goatee. Lesson 2, get a suit.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
It's showtime, baby. You go wacko, bananas, nuts, crazy, unbelievable.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Bob and Jeff today. Bob is out today. What's his status for tomorrow? Do you know that?
Are you asking me?
I'm
like
asking
I
you.
would know?
Well, you know the days you are doing the show.
Well, I told him that I would do yesterday when he called. Then he asked if I would do today because he's obviously busy.
He is pretty busy.
I told him tomorrow, if need be, with everything that he's got going on, I'm available. So if he needs me to come in, then I'll come in. And then Friday we're supposed to do the shows. Yeah, I might be here the rest of the week. I don't know.
All right. Well,
whatever you guys tell me. I
the
told
more
him
the
I
merrier, in my
told
opinion.
him I was free this week, especially with everything going on. I'm more than happy to help out and come here and chat with you for a while. And so, yeah, we'll see. He might not know until tomorrow, and that's fine.
If I have something going on like next week, would you be free?
Not for you next week.
Those
No,
days?
not if it's just you just want a day off.
I didn't say that. I said
I'm just saying.
if I have something going on.
If you had something pressing and I was able to do it, of course.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I don't have anything pressing as of now. I'm going to knock on wood. Just
knock.
I don't want any problems. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just want to live my life and get through it. Sail along.
Fair enough.
Shockers tonight. By the way, this is going to be a little shorter of a segment than you might be accustomed to.
Let's be honest. Everybody's waiting to hear from David Robinson. Jackie Robinson's son.
Jackie Robinson's
I
son.
am looking forward to it. Like, I'd like to just zip past this next 12 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Just to get to the interview, because I want to hear from him. I want to hear what he has to say.
As
You've already heard it.
Yeah, but it's different when you're doing an interview. I mean, I listened. I asked follow-up questions. But
it is different.
It is different.
It's to actually sit and listen rather than,
think about the next thing you're going to say, or
you think of something you want to say and then the conversation leads you another way, so you're not completely listening to everything. So, yeah, I understand exactly where you're at.
Because as long as I've been doing interviews, I still have those moments where I'm not listening as well as I should. But that's the whole point of an interview. It's not to ask questions. It's to get the answers and get the information.
For everybody else listening.
Absolutely.
Good job.
You want to ask good questions to get the information, but you get it.
I get it.
Thank you.
I get it.
I'm not going to be able to watch the Shockers tonight because they're on ESPNU, a channel I do not have.
I do not have that channel either.
I have ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Plus.
That's what I have.
But no you.
I know you.
No Shockers for me today. No Shockers for me on Sunday when they won, and I don't think anybody saw that game, which is unfortunate because they were playing at the same time as the Chiefs.
Not good timing there.
It was not. The exact same start time.
Yeah, that's not good.
And I commend the people who went out to Charles Koch Arena for that game. You are the true diehards.
Absolutely.
Or you don't like football, or both. So either way,
good for you.
Good job. But Shockers have Tulsa tonight. I am 99.9% sure that's on the road, and it is. They're in Tulsa. Tulsa had a good start to the year, playing a bunch of patsies. Haven't been very good in conference play, but it's still a road game for the Shockers and a team that needs to build some Big Mo.
Big Mo. Very true.
Figuratively speaking, of course.
Hopefully they can. I mean, it's got to be tough. New coach, bunch of new players. I mean, it's a difficult situation, but unfortunately now in sports, people don't like to give a lot of time to just, we'll build, and in 3 or 4 years we're going to be good. It just doesn't work that way anymore.
Especially when it's a new coach because the previous coach was let go, which means the tenure before didn't go as well as you hope. So now it's not just one bad year; it's bad years or unsatisfying years or underachieving years that are building up, and people do get impatient, and I get it.
So how long do you give a coach in
I
that
don't know
situation?
the answer to that question.
I don't either.
It used to be 3 years, or get his first recruiting class.
You think you kind of do. I mean, look at let's look at Dan Campbell. First year, what was he? 3-13.
But isn't that different?
And then kind of 8-9, and then kind of played a little bit better. But he was a new coach first time, and you go 3-13.
Yeah,
there's a good chance a lot of organizations would have said this isn't working.
Right. There have been. I mean, look at Frank Wright. Got fired in the middle of his first year. They didn't even wait till the end of the season, the Carolina Panthers, to get rid of him, and it happens. 1 year and you're out.
So, and that's the problem with coaching right now, and not just the pros, but in college. Everybody needs it now.
Who would want to be a coach in this environment?
Well,
a
like
big-time
the old
college
saying,
coach.
You know the old saying, Jeff, hired to be fired. That's just
I thought
the way
you were
it
going to
is.
do, what was the Big Show's statement? I'm rich.
Oh, no, he's OR. Old and rich.
Old and rich. So, I mean, like Nick Saban, he's old and rich. He's not coaching anymore, but I bet there were a lot of times where he didn't want to put up with it any longer, because I'm sure it's very hard. But at the end of the day, you do get to work with young people and hopefully shape their lives. I know the positives may outweigh the negatives in a lot of cases, but man, it's got to be tough.
Well, yeah, and especially now, you got the NIL you have to deal with, the transfer portal. Everybody just transfers to see if there's something better out there, which on one side, I can understand the player side of it, but from a program stance, it's awful because you have no idea if you're going to have a guy there for a year or for 4. And how many guys really are going to stick around for 4 years in a place? Not very often.
And, I mean, if you're happy, I'd, just stay. But I don't know. Guys get unhappy for any number of different reasons. Or they see the pastures, the grasses are greener perhaps on the other side with a bigger NIL deal or any other type of benefits they could be getting. So they leave the place where maybe they're even flourishing.
Well, you just never know. You just don't know. It would be absolutely more than difficult to be a coach in college sports right now, as far as I'm concerned, unless you're a Bill Self or Nick Saban's gone.
I'm sure it's hard for him.
It can be. It's not like it was. I can guarantee you that. Bill Self probably just needed to pick up the phone to one of the top 5 recruits in the country and say, "Hey, you want to come to KU?"
Pretty much.
And that was basically all he probably had to do.
And not many people leave, and he gets really good transfer. So, yeah, it's probably easier, relatively speaking, for Bill Self than just about everyone else.
And now he picks up that phone, and they say, "Well, I want this," or "What can you offer for NIL? I got all these other deals. I'll get back to you. I got 12 other places to call. We'll see." That never happened 10 years ago.
No.
It was like, "You want me to come to KU?" Yes. Okay, I'll be there tomorrow. Done. Right?
Right.
Build your program around these guys that you're going to have for 2, 3, 4 years.
And it's
now
crazy.
You can't.
Like we see a Bobby Pettiford who played at KU, and he goes to East Carolina, of all places, and he's doing pretty well. But you wouldn't look at him and say, that guy, I bet he was at KU. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a pretty big drop-off from KU to East Carolina.
Yes.
But I bet if he had stayed at KU, he would have gotten a lot better because his coach was Bill Self.
Very true, but these kids want to play, and I don't blame them for wanting to play, but it's just to build a program, I've said it on this show 1,000 times, it's relatively impossible right now unless you're maybe half a dozen schools. You just can't because you don't know who you're going to have. Look, KU has transfer. I mean, it's crazy.
Everybody.
It's just nuts. It's gotten out of hand as far as I'm concerned.
That's a fair opinion. We got to take a break right now. Coming back on the other side, David Robinson, the son of Jackie Robinson, who was born 105 years ago today, and obviously the implication for what's going on in our community is there. So a lot of Jackie Robinson talk. Great conversation with David Robinson. Do not miss it. It's up next here on Bob and Jeff.
KFH.
Welcome back to Bob and Jeff. We are very happy and honored to be joined on the hotline by the son of the iconic, the great Jackie Robinson. His name is David Robinson. David, how's it going this afternoon?
It's going fine, Jeff, and it's a pleasure to be with you today.
Absolutely. This is Jackie's birthday. He was born 105 years ago today. How do you and your family honor this day and reflect on your father?
Well, we remember the tremendous impact his integration of Major League Baseball had on American society, black and white. We got a chance to see each other working together, playing together, improving the quality of our lives together, improving the quality of baseball together. So it's a day to celebrate the strength of unity and integration.
Absolutely. And there are extenuating circumstances for why we're talking today, which we'll get to later. But it's interesting and amazing because I've also talked today to Carl Erskine, who is 97 years old and an old teammate for a long time of Jackie's with the Brooklyn Dodgers, and that's just incredible. I mean, who would have ever thought that opportunity would present itself? And then, of course, the opportunity to talk to you. And in my mind, it goes to all these historical places. How do you put in perspective as someone who grew up, and that was just dad? Jackie was dad. How do you put in perspective his historical impact?
Well, as you say, he was father, and the impact we saw was, to a large extent, inside the house with his family, with his wife, with his children, and our extended family. And we just enjoyed coming together as a family and as an extended family. But it was the same type of enjoyment. One of the fun days of the year for us was Old Timers Day, when we went down to the baseball camps in Florida, and all the old timers were down there for the weekend playing together and remembering the days when they were professionals at sport. And it just brought warm memories of what type of success, what type of human development can happen if we decide that we're going to work together. And working together certainly made the Brooklyn Dodgers a better baseball team, and America just became thrilled with the potentials of what we can do together and what Jackie Robinson brought to the game of baseball.
Talking with David Robinson, whose father, Jackie Robinson, was born 105 years ago today. So obviously when we're talking about this statue, it's the Jackie Robinson statue here in Wichita. There's a lot of mythology and a lot of mystique and the aura and the spirit. These are all words that kind of get thrown around when you're talking about a statue maybe of anybody, but especially Jackie Robinson. So in what ways do you think the man Jackie Robinson was different from the myth and the mystique and the aura? And in what ways does he live up to all of that?
Well, he was a man of quiet temperament. He was very gentle with his family. He was not a swimmer, nor was he a fisherman. But to be with his sons, we were out on the Long Island Sound fishing, deep sea fishing. He and I were up in Canada in a huge lake in a very little rowboat. But that was the man who wanted to be father, who extended himself to be with his children. The myth of the fiery competitor, you can see that, and it amazes me to this day, Jeff. I've looked at the distance between third base and home plate and said, how is it that a man can consider stealing home? And it's a remarkable tribute to one of the things that he brought to the game of baseball, which was greater daring and greater success at his daring as a base runner. So he was a bold man, a courageous man, but a simple and quiet father who really wanted to work with his children to make a better life for them and to give an example to American children across the nation as to what a family could be and what a team could be together.
For sure. So this is probably a story that's just out there, and I probably missed it. But when did Jack become Jackie?
You know, that's an interesting point. You know, as a man becomes, as you say, an icon, a legend, a familiar figure, a figure that you know feel that you can put your arm around if you have the honor to meet him anywhere in the streets or in America. You go from the more formal to the more informal, and so I think you're talking, you know, well after 1947, but you're talking in the 1950s when Jackie Robinson became a household name, became a figure of success, and people wanted to identify with him with the warmest name, warmest component of the name, and they chose Jackie. And I would say, you know, that was as his career developed, and they began to own him as their own.
David Robinson, our guest, honored to be joined by the son of the late, great Jackie Robinson, born on this day. So you were born about 5 years after Jackie became a major league player. How much of his career do you remember? I imagine seeing it on film in a lot of ways helps you maybe remember. And what were those following 15 years or so like, or 20 years? I guess 5 years after he played, and then 15 more years with him like.
Yeah, I said the baseball element was the old timers' day. The father element was at home with him as a father, and within our extended family of relatives who would come together Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, and all summer long on our property in Stamford, Connecticut. But during those years and the years that I knew him as father, it was as an advocate for social development. When our churches were bombed in the South, he was there to raise money to rebuild those churches. When we wanted to talk about economic development, he was there in Harlem starting a bank to be a lending agent to businesses. And just a constant spokesman, joining political parties in terms of trying to make the political system better for the American society. So it was an advocate for social development, equality in America, advancement for the African American community. That's the way he lived his life, and that's what he pressed in his sport that he loved of baseball, to see that baseball began to expand its agreement towards inclusion, so that we didn't just have baseball players on the field, but we had a diverse population in the back offices of baseball, and that baseball became a more and more inclusive sport.
What did he, and we're working still toward a time where we acknowledge everyone's uniqueness, their backgrounds, their heritages, and everything like that, and still, come to just accept them regardless. That's a problem that may never be solved. But what did your father teach you about race and what it meant in his life, and how maybe ultimately, when you were young, how you might have to encounter problems such as those?
Yeah, I think Jackie Robinson and his generation, both black and white, exposed the myths of ignorance that together there was some kind of damage that would be made to any particular group or to society, that integration was going to be a negative as opposed to the tremendous positive that it was in terms of people being able to learn and work with and benefit from each other. All of my life, I live in Tanzania, East Africa.
Wow.
I'm a coffee farmer, and I work with a cooperative of small-scale family-owned farmers who also want to be part of the global coffee economy, which is the same as the African Americans wanting to be part of the national sport of baseball. And as farmers integrate themselves into the global economy, bring more money home to their farming communities, we see it in America as well. When you benefit the little guy in terms of economic development, the whole society is benefited and prospers by families being stronger, communities being able to invest in health and education and housing. And these are the things that can bring us all, make us all feel better about working together, because we can see the success of working together, living together, and having a better life together. And that's, I think, the message of Jackie Robinson, the message of the Dodgers, and what baseball showed to America and the world, that together we truly are stronger.
I love that. Thank you. And, you know, one of the great miracles of Jackie's life is that it lives on through you, and especially his wife, Rachel, who is 101 years old, and we continue to get Jackie's light through her, through you, through the rest of your family. How is your mother doing?
She's doing great, 101 years old. But Jeff, I tell you, Jackie Robinson continues with the 42 Youth Baseball League.
Yes.
It really it's America has embraced a more positive and better human value system, and it was exemplified by Jackie Robinson and the Dodgers in baseball. But whenever you have youth leagues or community organizations or statues that represent that type of integrity, that strength of the individual Jackie Robinson is being carried on and will continue to be carried on, because the people are growing even today, all these years later, in recognition of Jackie Robinson and his importance to society, and the qualities that we should integrate into our own lives to make our lives, our families' lives better, based on what Jackie Robinson taught us.
Absolutely. Final moments here with David Robinson, the son of Jackie Robinson. So we'll get to what I brought up early, the statue itself here in Wichita. I know the design and everything went through your family, and it was signed off on. Obviously a point of pride here in Wichita. We love having him represented here and through League 42. So tell us about what that statue meant to your family, and when you heard about what its fate was.
Well, Jeff, again, it represented a community in embracing the message and the values of Jackie Robinson. And part of that message and values was to stand tall, to stand with courage. And I think when we heard about the theft of the statue, we saw it as an unfortunate event, but the way Wichita responded was really exemplifying what we all learned about Jackie Robinson, which was to not lower your head, to not quit. And so I send my heartfelt congratulations to Wichita for the strength in which they responded to that theft, with the raising of funds and the intent to immediately rebuild. And I'm thankful that no one was hurt physically in the incident. And I hope the perpetrators get the help that they need. The courts will exercise their input, but these are people who are troubled mentally, and these troubles are not exclusive to those particular thieves. It's work that we all need to do to try to find the right direction in our lives. And the Youth 42 League in Wichita can be one of the institutions, and the way the community responded in Wichita and across the nation is an example that we're not giving up and that we're moving straight ahead. And that's a resilience that can't be beat, and statues can be replaced.
And truly inspiring stuff. Thank you so much for sharing some of yourself, your time, your story, your family story, and the memory of your father, Jackie Robinson. Could not be more honored or proud, and really appreciative. Thank you so much, David.
Well, thank you to you and your family. I know in Wichita you've done a great job, and it has a great meaning on our youth and our future.
Absolutely. Thanks, David.
All right. Thank you now.
Pretty amazing stuff right there.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. That was enlightening. I enjoyed that.
Me too. Welcome back. Bob and Jeff, final segment of the show. This is an interview I recorded earlier at Channel 12. This is Carl Erskine, pitcher for the the Brooklyn Dodgers in the 1940s and 50s, who played with Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, so obviously I want to talk to you today about Jackie, and I live here where the statue was stolen. It's also personal to me because my dad is the executive director of the nonprofit baseball league who helped build the statue, and obviously you played with him for a long time. So today's his birthday. I know you've heard about the statue. Have you been reflecting on Jackie a lot over the last few days?
Well, yes, I have, man, because I played with Jackie nine or possibly 10 seasons. We're good friends, and he's a very high-class person. Of course, everybody knows he's a great athlete, but he was a genuine, well-educated, and a very genuine friend of mine.
Absolutely. I think you guys broke into the Dodgers organization in the same year, 1946. He was in the minor leagues. You were at a different minor league stop. So what was the talk around the Dodgers organization when he became part of the organization? I'm sure there were a lot of conversations. How did those go with your teammates?
Well, there was never any friction or guys all respected him, and of course, it went both ways. And so we never had a problem with that. And Jackie was a class person, well educated, and of course, everybody recognized right away. I'm glad he's on our side.
Yeah. So, you're about 8 years younger than him. Was he someone you looked up to just because, he'd had experience obviously playing in the Negro leagues? And like I said, did you look up to him in a way?
Well, I didn't have a problem either way because I grew up in a town of Anderson, Indiana. And my best buddy was a black athlete who was an all-state athlete named Johnny Wilson. And I'd had that experience, and it was no problem for me at all with Jackie. So we hit it off very well, and of course I respected him a lot. And the race thing never entered our experience. It was just he was a teammate, and that was it.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the race thing? Because, obviously baseball to that point had not had a black player. Why were the Dodgers, or most of the Dodgers seemingly, able to kind of overlook that?
Well, we were glad he was on our side. he was a very exciting player to watch or to be a teammate with. So there was no friction of any kind on our side, and he was aggressive and very exciting base runner. So we were happy he was on our team.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, he was a Dodger in 47. You were a Dodger beginning in 1948. Do you feel like things had calmed down around the league? Maybe some of the opponents, maybe some of the outcry over him playing. Was that still there, or that it had?
Yes, you're right. It was still there, and it lingered for a while. But he was such an outstanding player that soon went away, and he gained the respect of other players.
Were you able to look at him? I mean, I imagine the answer is yes, because like you said, he was on your side. But were you able to look at him less as a cultural figure and more of a teammate? Did you even consider him a cultural figure? Were you able to grasp the importance of that moment at the time?
Well, I'd had a pre-experience that made everything okay for me with him. But I grew up and had a close friend, Johnny Wilson was his name, was a star athlete in Indiana. And he and I grew up in the same neighborhood. And so I'd had that experience already. So it was no problem with me and Jackie at all.
Absolutely. So, like you said, you played with Jackie for a long time. I want to know what kind of person he was. Who was the guy you were able to get to know? And what kind of interesting things did you learn about him along the way and in those years?
Well, I think Jackie understood what his role was. And he was, of course, he was an intelligent person. He understood things in depth. So he was very well aware of what he represented. And he felt, I think he felt a calling almost, you might say, to stamp the right kind of image, being the first black player. Of course, he was an outstanding athlete, number one. Secondly, he was a person of character. Things meant something to him. It wasn't just a ho-hum experience. So he knew, and he expressed it as well, that he was kind of breaking a barrier, and he wanted to do it in the right way. He was a good class person.
Absolutely, no question. Was the Dodgers the perfect organization for that? What do you think overall made the Dodgers organization from top to bottom as welcoming as they were?
Well, I think it reflected the owner himself, Branch Rickey.
Yeah.
Mr. Rickey was a very kind individual. He professed his Christian faith in the right way, and he was a very smart owner. He was very tuned in for baseball. He had a baseball mind.
Yeah, and you threw a couple no-hitters at Ebbets Field, which is just incredible. And I know Jackie, you said he saved one of those. Can you tell me that story?
Well, he was playing third base, and there was a ball hit hard. Willie Mays hit a shot to his left. Now, one thing about Jackie, he was quick. Now, fast is one thing, but quick is something else. He moved, and his reflexes were so good. Mays hit a ball hard to his left, and his instincts kicked in. He made a beautiful pickup, made it turn it into an easy out. That was his forte, really. He was quick on his feet, quick hands, and a very exciting base runner. Yes, he was an exciting player.
I'm just curious because that is amazing. I'm a big baseball fan. I follow the history, and to be speaking to someone who says, well, Willie Mays hit a ball and Jackie Robinson fielded it, that's incredible to me. I mean, I can't even imagine. And you experienced that. What does that feel like to be a part of that level of history?
Well, I always recognize the fact that it was quite a rare privilege to be playing at that level. And so I had an admiration for the status of being a major league player. I always felt like that was a badge of honor. And I think it is. I still feel that way.
Yeah, as you should. And when did you hear about the theft of the statue?
Well, where I'm at in a retirement village, the word came down, and I didn't really get to read the news coverage of it for a day or two after it actually happened. So I finally was kind of able to understand it.
Yeah, what goes through your mind when something like that happens? Because here, we didn't know Jackie, but we want to honor him and celebrate him and celebrate his spirit. But you knew him, so how personal was that for you? What did that feel like for you when you heard that news?
Well, it just turned out Jackie and I, besides being teammates, we became very close friends. And I had grown up in a mixed neighborhood in Anderson, Indiana. And one of my close buddies was a black young man named Johnny Wilson. He was a star athlete in Indiana, and it was sort of a forerunner for my experience with Jackie. It was interesting. It happened that way. But I always respected Jackie a lot. He was a very intelligent person. Actually, in those days, not too many of us were college experienced. Jackie had been to college, and so he was a very intelligent person and very driven. He was very committed to what he was. I guess he felt like he was trying to prove something, but he had an intense. Duke Snyder was my roommate, and he told me one day, he says, Carl, you want to see a game face? There was always a term in sports that when a guy was really locked into the situation, his competitiveness was coming through really strong. They said he had a game face, and he was there for business to get it done and get it done right. And that's exactly the way Jackie was. There was no nonsense about him and his commitment to his playing days. And of course, he was a superstar anyway. And there's a difference between being fast and being quick. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but Jackie had these instincts. He almost made the move before he needed to because he had such a good feel for his position. And so, yes, he was very quick, but it was just his nature. It just came natural for him.
Yeah. I just had one more question. I really appreciate you doing this, by the way. But, you, I think, stopped playing in after 57, if I have that right. He was done, I think, maybe a year or two earlier. Did you keep up with him? Did you stay in touch over those about 15 years before he passed away? And if not, I'm sure that you admired the work he was doing from afar as far as the civil rights movement went.
Well, yeah, I respected Jackie a lot. I may have already mentioned this, I'm not sure I remember right, but I had a close friend, a black young man named Johnny Wilson in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he was a superstar in Indiana. In fact, he was Mr. Basketball in Indiana. So I had that experience to lean on. And it was a valuable thing for me to have that experience with Jackie. So that it was kind of like a forerunner. I was kind of prepared for it.
Absolutely. Well, Carl, I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time so much. It was, like I said, it's an honor to speak to you, a Brooklyn Dodger, just amazing. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm always pleased to recall those good days and those teammates of mine. It was quite an experience.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day, Carl.
Thank you so much. Same to you and your family.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Thank you. Bye.